Hello and welcome back to the Dork List. My name is Jordan.
And welcome back to Darian Christian. I'm back, Internet. Beware.
Yeah, definitely beware of that. Why? Why did you do
Because I'm back.
Okay.
And it's been a while.
Okay.
I've been gone for a long time.
I mean, I have too, but I wasn't like, beware, I'm back, Internet.
From outer space.
From outer space.
I kind of just walked in to find you here.
What?
With that look on your face.
What?
I forgot to change that stupid lock.
Oh. Anyway. So, first off, I'd like to formally apologize to all of our listeners out there. All of you hardy few that stick with us.
Pretty few.
For the few episodes that we've been releasing so far.
Not to mention the people I got at GeekCon who actually listened to our podcast and then went to our podcast to find out we weren't putting anything out.
Yeah. There are several reasons for the hiatus. That being said, there actually was an episode 6 recorded. It was our longest freaking episode yet. Over an hour and a half long. But after some things happened, I realized on my part that there were some personal things that happened. When I told Darian about it, he was like, "Whoa, I completely forgot about that too." And a lot of that would have required a lot of editing out and changing things. And that's not what we really do here. We kind of just do the one time through and not really deal with...
We feel the flow.
We feel the flow.
Even though we don't listen to that dub at all.
Yeah.
That's
for
a total lie.
Those that got the reference.
That's a total lie. I totally watched the dub.
I gave it like a shot once and I was like, no. But yeah. We did have an episode 6 recorded. This is going to be our official episode 6, though. Basically, what we covered though in episode 6, the original, we actually had our first list, and we counted down our top 10 top 10 like hyped. Like movie, TV show announcements and that from Comic-Con that happened. Yeah. And unfortunately a few of those were like...
Busts!
Big busts, because
They're
were like...
dead! It's not even funny. Fantastic Four, which was... Okay, this is... I haven't said this on the internet yet, but I will say this to people who have not heard it. I liked Fantastic Four... until the second hour of film, where they ruined it
with the time skip. Correct?
Yeah, I thought we weren't going to mention spoilers on the podcast, Jordan.
You know what? In the case of this movie, I feel like that one spoiler is okay.
Hey, some people might like this movie still.
I mean, and that being said, like, yes, there's a time skip, but to be completely fair. Most movies have time skips, if you think about it.
But they had a time skip halfway through the movie.
Yeah, it happens.
Not often.
It happened in...
and especially when it works.
Happened in the third Batman movie.
Well, in the third Batman movie, there's a time skip for a reason.
Yeah.
And it has a proper reason. The time skip
in
that movie destroyed it.
Yeah.
It destroyed the movie. It's like, why would you do that? But essentially, up until that point, I thought the movie was going in a good direction until that, and then that ruined it.
Right. That being said, though, there were obviously a few other flops over the movies. Like, we had hyped up Pixels for the longest time.
I liked the movie.
He liked the movie. I still have not seen it yet. I will watch it eventually, rent it, whatever. But, like, that was another one where we hyped it up a lot.
And
technically, it made a good sum of money, but it was not as good. It was nowhere near as good as what it could have been, which was unfortunate.
That's the sad part, is that... But the movie was good. It was funny. People think that it was most of the Adam Sandler's jokes, and I'm like, it's not completely Adam Sandler jokes. Essentially, it got the gamers of the audience of the gamers that they were trying to hit. So Jordan's in my generation of gamers wouldn't technically hit it. I understood them, but our generation of gamers wouldn't get it. In fact, it made fun of our generation of gamers.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, like it's a good crack to make, but like that target audience was like confused.
It was us.
Like it was supposed to be us. It's supposed to be kids. It's supposed to be kids liking classic arcade games. It's supposed to be, but the humor didn't always match.
It didn't, and it would sometimes completely hit the curb, and then I guess we should just get off of it because it wasn't
right.
But other than hand, some movies that were actually successful, we did hype up.
Oh, like didn't we hype up The Martian?
We did hype up The Martian, which Jordan and I actually got Jordan to actually go see it with me.
I mean, I was planning to see it regardless, and then I was like,
but the
I
fact
that
you went to see it with me,
and Darian was like, I want to go see it too with you, and I was like, okay, when are we gonna go see it? And we saw it like really late one night. Like,
I was so happy to stay conscious through that entire movie because I just got out of work. I'm like, holy crap, I still conscious. That night beat Jordan Fay in Yu-Gi-Oh, like beforehand.
Yeah, it's true.
After the last duel we had ended up in complete and utter destruction.
It wasn't just one, though, remember. It was every single one of them.
I am never hesitating. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have a shooting star Quasar Dragon on the field, you don't hesitate!
The one game he was gonna beat me, because he got out a first turn Quasar, I bluffed him so hard.
I hate
you. It was so great.
I hate your deck so much.
It was so great. But no, he legit beat me with his Necroz deck.
Which just got nerfed.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, part of me was maniacally laughing on the inside after that. But that was out of
you fracker.
That was
fracker.
That was more so out of spite. But I mean, for those that do play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or trying to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! The current ban list essentially put an end to the previous format of
a lot of the meta decks got nerfed, and we never talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! Before on this because I wasn't playing anymore, Jordan wasn't playing anymore, and then I started playing.
Like, I think we both got hyped back into it because of Arc 5, which is arguably one of
the reasons why we're watching
it. It's one of the best Yu-Gi-Ohs to date.
And then
to be completely fair.
And then it got me back into watching other Yu-Gi-Ohs, and I'm just like, well, I'm actually really glad we're not in this crappy generation anymore.
Yeah.
Thank God for Arc 5.
But yeah, I'm trying to get back into it to a degree.
He doesn't need to. He's got a fine meta deck sitting at home.
Okay, it's not meta though. It's like tier 2.
It's meta.
It's tier 2.
Okay.
Like, it compared to.
At least you could still use yours.
Okay, that's fair. But the game is about to get really expensive again, I believe.
And especially for people who did like playing with Necrozes, get on Amazon right now and start buying up the Necrozes because they went down by at least 50% each because of the ban list. Bryanak is now $10.
Yep.
And then Valkyrius is like $25. And that, for people who don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah.
So go get your Valkyrius now before it goes back up.
Yeah.
Because you could still have 3 of those. But now Unicorn is completely limited to 1 and it nerfs the whole thing.
Yep. Well, anyway, though.
Moving on.
Just on one more note, though. I can say that my life is going in a positive direction again. Changing jobs. Going to be much happier with that. I should be able to connect with Darian a lot more often to start doing podcasts more often again.
And I've said that I wanted to do something special on the side. I'm going to start doing some YouTube videos. Pretty much just about nerd stuff in general. And it'll be like my little go-between stuff for when Jordan and I aren't doing stuff.
Yeah, and I need to get more so on voice acting stuff as well. Just put out my own stuff, but...
Just so we both have stuff going on. And internet, feel free to yell at both of us if we're both slacking.
Yeah.
Yell at both of us.
But be nice. Be nice.
Don't be nice to me. Don't be nice to me. You can be nice to Jordan. Don't be nice to me. I need the kick in the past. Look at my house.
That's fair. Okay. Anyway, though. So we got a few topics to go for with this week's episode. We're gonna try not to go too crazy. We're gonna get back into keeping things an hour because you guys don't need to hear us rambling on for more than that.
Well, it depends. They might like hearing our voices.
That's fair.
You're gonna be a fangirl's dream one day. I don't know why you wouldn't they wouldn't want to hear more than that.
I mean, that's true, but I mean, don't get me wrong. It's but one more thing. I apologize if my voice sounds weird. I have a cold right now, and that sucks. I could feel it.
I just now noticed that your nose is like
I sound a little nasally today, so I apologize for that. But anyway, so the big thing. Yeah, I'm gonna call this the Dork List Awakens. Star Wars Episode VIII.
The Force Awakens trailer.
Not the international one.
Not the international one. We have not seen that. Do not spoil either one of us.
The US one, though.
We don't talk about that international trailer because me and Jordan don't need more Star Wars trailers. We don't need it.
Because with that one trailer that we did receive,
it spoiled so many things. Oh wait, not the international one. Oh, okay, but no. In general, the international one spoiled a lot of things, and that's why we. Yeah.
Okay.
According to that, it spoiled a lot of things.
And to be completely fair, we don't want to go through another.
I don't want to do another Avengers.
It's true. That's actually the parallel that I was going to say because, like, and I never got to do it, but calculating how much we actually saw in the trailers that was in the movie, I never got to actually.
I went back and actually looked at it, and it's a lot. And I'm just sitting here going, Avengers didn't do this with the first one. The second one, they've ruined it. Not ruined the movie, but it took a lot of the surprise away. Because the movie was great.
You're right. The movie was still great, but it did ruin a lot of the surprises, to be fair.
Yeah.
That being said, though.
Holy shit.
Did you
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, people, but that describes that trailer.
Just hands down, it was
It
really
destroyed
great.
the internet.
It did. When ticket sales actually went live, it broke the internet.
It broke it. I helped a little bit with I went and got my ticket. It's currently sitting in my car right now and waiting to be used. Sadly, Mikey won't be around for that. But more or less, that's a different thing. But the internet exploded. We finally found out one thing. The black guy's gonna be the Jedi.
Yeah.
It made me really happy. Especially since...
that was spoiled with the poster before the trailer, though.
Well, actually, I never saw the poster before the trailer.
Because the poster came out before the trailer.
Yeah. And
he was posing with a blue lightsaber in the poster.
I did the right thing and didn't look at the poster.
You gotta look at the poster, though.
I didn't look at the poster before that trailer came out.
Well,
I knew it would spoil something.
I just saw it through my feed, so that's how it happened.
The big news, Kylo Ren isn't a Sith.
Right.
He's not a Sith.
Well, I don't know how many people actually know that or realize that.
Well, now...
most of the people that probably listen to this podcast knew that.
Yeah, but now he's not a Sith. He's confirmed to not be a Sith. There are no such thing as midichlorians.
And he is not Luke Skywalker.
He is not Luke Skywalker, and if he is, it's gonna kill the film.
It's not him.
It's not.
It's not.
I could believe that it would be a clone. A really, really bad clone. Because Palpatine does that. But according to the new canonicity, that never happened.
Yeah, as a lot of people know, Star Wars Episodes 7 through 9 are essentially exploring semi-new territory in that there are certain characters that we know are in it that were part of the original extended universe, but now they're taking creative liberty to make a movie universe, which is like the new canon.
I don't like to call it the new canon because now they nerfed and got rid of everything. Because point period, this is the new status quo with Star Wars right now. Everything that happened pretty much since the original movies came out, the prequels came out, and the Old Republic came out, all the new information that they added is just gone. And if anything, it bothers me, but it only really bothers me because of all the information that we lost. And with all that information lost, all that new stuff, especially the origin of the Jedi stuff, that's just gone. That's just gone. The origin of the Jedi is gone. There is no Jedi, as to say for the internet. That story is gone. The Old Republic stuff, not canon. Every video game, not canon. The only stuff that is canon now is the movies and the new comic books they sent out right now. All that old stuff, gone. And honestly, I wish they kept the stuff that was in the past prior to the prequels canon. Because that was all stuff that doesn't need to have an impact on what we do now. And if anything... Oh, and Rebels is canon, so that's a good thing. But at the same point, it just really ruins a whole lot of things. But it may make it for the better, but I disagree.
And that's fair. Because I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, but hopefully, and this is my hope, my singular hope, is that the expanded universe that they made still continues to exist as its own separate entity.
And I think it will. I mean, I think you gotta realize, though, the reason why they're doing this is a reason twofold. One,
Disney likes to own things.
That's not one of the reasons I was gonna say.
Disney likes to own things. That is one of the reasons that you should say.
That is a sub-reason.
It's not a sub-reason. That's a main reason. They like to own things.
No, my two reasons are, one, the intended purpose for this movie and the movies hereafter are to target the broader audience in general that enjoys Star Wars or would get into Star Wars. That is the primary focus, and that they're trying to make it, understandable enough so that more people get into it. And the second reason then is that because they don't, I'm guessing, is that they don't want to make it so that everything is so expected for everyone that did know the prior history of it.
And
because if you understand everything before it happens, like, yes, obviously there are book to movie adaptations. There are some that are great.
I will flat out say
that are bad.
That would not have worked in this case. It would not have worked.
If they had tried to make a straight adaptation,
even if they had done some TV series, it wouldn't have helped.
Well, and the thing is, if there was even like the most minor difference, it would have been skewered by the hardcore fans.
It
would have been absolutely just lampooned.
But yeah, and I say that, and I will just say this in front. I'm defending the expanded universe in this case. I am not defending the fans, which will be its own thing later. We'll get into that later.
Which I think we should talk about next, since we're in this.
Yeah, but if anything, let's talk about Rebels.
Okay.
Star Wars Rebels. Jordan hasn't been watching this. I'm going to force him to watch it later.
Maybe.
Star Wars Rebels started its second season. Technically, it started its second season way back in July or May. I can't remember which one it is. With Darth Vader showing up and pretty much nerfing everything about the Rebels. They get their butts kicked by Vader. Both of them nearly die. Both Kanan and Ezra nearly die. I won't tell you how, but Vader shows up. He kills a lot of the squadron that you saw in the season finale, if you did see it. But Rebels has been pretty good so far. We recently had the addition of Ahsoka Tano, so she's still alive, And in which case, that's a good thing that the expanded universe got nerfed, because, quite frankly, now Ahsoka has the option to survive into the new one in some way, shape, or form. But also, we have Clone Wars canonicity.
I don't think she will, though.
No,
to be completely fair, because
to be completely
there
honest,
has not been a real life, or there has not been like a flesh and body character of her yet, and I don't think there will be.
Well, yeah, but I kind of keep that hope alive, because at the same point, they wouldn't be doing Rebels and putting in extra Jedi if they wouldn't intend to use more. Because
yes and no.
Because I will say this flat. I full on don't expect Jedi like Kanan to be around by the end of Return of the Jedi, but I do expect Ezra to survive in some way, shape, or form. Because at least then, it's not just Luke. Because people have said, oh, the movies did say, okay, Luke is the last remaining Jedi. But that doesn't mean that there weren't Force-sensitive humans alive, or with the possibility of to exist in some way, shape, or form. So, essentially, I like the idea of Kanan not surviving, but Ezra should. Because I don't want the universe to be condensed into one shape of storytelling, and that is around the Skywalker family. As much as I love them.
Fair enough. Alright. We good on this front, then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll just ask Last Land and say... oh, no, I already went into canonicity, so we don't have to worry about that. So,
right.
Yep.
So, we briefly mentioned it with the Star Wars, though, with talking about fans, but we wanted to... Because we had a really good discussion about this the other day, talking about fandoms.
And fandom representation.
And fandom representation, because as a lot of the internet knows right now, there's obviously that one fandom that is currently under major scrutiny, and that's the Steven Universe fandom.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, for those of you who know, a Steven Universe fan tried to commit suicide. He was unsuccessful, or she was unsuccessful. I cannot remember if pronouns. I cannot remember pronouns for the life of me. But here's me wishing you the best. And honestly, I won't lie. As a member of the Steven Universe fandom, I have never, or as a fan in general, if anything, I have never felt more ashamed of being a member of that fandom. It's what are you doing? And I will just flat out say it. What are you doing?
You want to know what they were doing? Is that it became a thing where certain people were feeling entitled to Steven Universe. The mindset became, this is mine, and I don't want certain people ruining my perception of this.
Alright, and essentially, I want to kind of look at people who think that way. And now this is the knowledge that we know that you don't know you think like this. And that's what it is. But here is what happens when you bully somebody online. Is that I want to tell you about your behavior because you have done this. Everybody, not bullied, but has gotten into a fight online. Here's what happens when you get into a fight online. You get into a fight online. The fight ends. And then one of you goes about your day. And you've forgotten about it by the end of next week. If that is the case, and the other person, well, if that is the case, why are you fighting in the first place? Because at the same point, on the other side, whichever side it is, could walk away with scars. Both mentally and possibly physically. Why do it in the first place if a week later or a day later or an hour later, you're not even going to remember it? What's the point? And it's the same thing with when you're not going to care. What's the point? I mean, I think that all nerds have had the problem of finding out where they belong. Because it's been a struggle for everybody.
It's true.
To figure out where they belong. Nerds in general, because I think, honestly, the mainstream media has shined a light on how we're represented. Where, like, the jocks were glorified. And then everybody else who wasn't a jock wasn't glorified.
And then when like geek and nerd culture is shined upon, like when we finally do have that spotlight, it's not necessarily in the best way. And like even when we think, oh hey, we're gonna finally have some positive representation, aka heroes of cosplay, you have TV producers in that who are skewing things in a way to create drama, sometimes out of completely nothing, for their own purposes to make things quote unquote interesting.
It's disgusting. It's ridiculous, and it's not needed.
The point of a fandom should be celebrating the source material that you are all fans of, and celebrating each other for, you know, being part of a community that enjoys the same thing.
That's the whole point of a fandom. Fandoms existed way back, and way back. I think it gained early representation in the 70s, because that's when we got like when the Trekkies came to front, like to prominence. That's when the mainstream media finally had to take notice, and then we started having comic book conventions, and then Star Wars became a thing, and we were having conventions for that. And then it was slowly gaining traction until the new millennium, where we finally have mainstream media where it's not, I wouldn't say it's not cool to like have glorified jocks anymore, because we still do. But now we shine a spotlight on nerd culture that is more than it used to be. So I just kind of like to say that as a nerd who hid the fact that he was a nerd for several years, it took a long time for me to be comfortable in my own nerd culture. Now I won't go outside without wearing something that is nerd related. And then if I'm wearing said t-shirt, you are obligated by your love of said fandom, if I have the fandom on my shirt, you are obligated by my friendship as a member of the fandom to come up to me and talk to me about it. I am one of those nerds that enjoys that. I love that, because I love talking about our fandom, but it's not necessary for me to kick out people who I don't feel should be in it, because at the same point, I'm going to go away home again and not think about said person who I don't think should belong in it anyway. So what's the point?
Yep. And I mean, the thing is, like, especially when it comes to things like fan art or fan fiction, I mean, the thing is, you are allowed to have your own creative liberties, as long as obviously you are not doing in any way some way to like harm or like belittle the name of the actual like source material that you have. Like if you were degrading a character or something like that, that's not good. But if what you're doing is in like good natured, good fun, just love of a fandom, go ahead and do it. Like Steven Universe especially is a series that is all about uniqueness and inclusivity, and like finding what is unique about you and celebrating those differences and just coming together.
That's the whole point of the show. And I like to think of myself as a nerd, is that when you represent yourself as said nerd, represent yourself as a way to not to like to an extreme, but how your favorite character would see you.
Be a model fan that the characters from the series that you are a fan of would be proud of you.
I know that people are going to kind of twist that, saying, oh, what about if we love villains? Well, the villains aren't going to care what you think in the first place. They're not going to care. But what matters is that you should represent yourself in a way that in the good characters, we're not segregating against villains. We're not doing that. In a way that these people would want to view you, because everybody has had that idea where we'd like to meet our characters one day.
Yep.
I've dreamt about it. Very, very vivid ones.
Yep.
And I've tried to be that every day. But I don't ever want to do something that would make those characters hate me. Because they're a part of me just as much as they're a part of you. So try to remember that.
Yep. At the end of the day, know that you are not the only fan when it comes to a fandom.
I mean,
that you...
Yeah, go ahead.
You really everyone should come to respect each other and just, embrace the fact that you have differences. And that not everybody's going to see things the same way, but at the end of the day, you're still fans of the same thing.
I mean, as much as I love Digimon, and I will say that I am probably one of its biggest fan, it doesn't mean I'm the only one. If anything, my fandom, and I'm just saying this as a Digimon fan, our fandom as Digimon, for the longest time, it was hard to even find another one. Especially during the Pokemon boom. So that when I met my best friend, Alan Sharpley, an alumni of this show, I met my best friend and still am his best friend today because of Digimon. I have Jordan, who is my best friend because of Digimon. And other things that but Digimon was initially the official thing.
That's true.
Because I remember, one of the first conversations Jordan and I had was I was talking about Digimon. And then all of a sudden, Jordan looks over and goes, "Wait, what? You talking about Digimon?" I'm like, "Dude, I love this." "Me too." "No way! No way!" And then a bromance began.
This is true. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've hit the message home enough. So we'll move on to better things. Better, more lighthearted things to talk about.
Be the change, people.
Be the change. Fall anime and manga. It is a good time to be alive with anime and stuff. I will say that. We have moved on from the summer of Ichi harem borderline hentai stuff and have
You got a problem with that, bro?
Did I say I have a problem with that? No, I said we have moved on
I was
from
about to say,
that.
you kind of went to that exact audience of people.
Well, but if you look at what the programming was for summer and how now all of a sudden, oh hey look, all of those shows that you watched during the summer are now uncensored. But anyway, the fall selection has been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty great.
It's been pretty good.
There are some gems here and there, and I obviously the breakaway hit of the seasons so far is One Punch Man, which again, one of the funny things about this is that One Punch Man, it's been serialized for quite a few years as a manga already. It's been
around for a while, and people the thing is, when fans of this series have literally said nonstop that One Punch Man in general can literally knock the crap out of anybody he fights. That including Goku, Vegeta, and every superhero to ever exist. And people were like, "Oh, that can't become a thing." When One Punch Man premiered, everybody shut up in a well of silence and went, "Oh my gosh."
Well, and part of it too, this is the thing, is that not everybody reads manga.
Not everybody, or books for that matter.
Or books for that matter, and that's completely fair. And so the fact that all of a sudden now everybody is into it, there's nothing wrong with that.
It is the bandwagon effect. Let's face it, it's always gonna happen. It's happened with Naruto. It happened with Bleach. It happened with One Piece. It happened just recently with Attack on Titan. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not anime hipsters here.
Although for one of them, I will be saying that. Which
you only say that because you have the glasses and you're wearing them now. He tried doing the anime glasses thing where his glasses light up. It didn't work.
Okay. But anyway. It also helps for the fact that One Punch Man is animated by Madhouse, and oh my gosh, the animation is just
so well.
It is so amazing.
It's so good. I'm really glad that they got it too, because
agreed.
They knew that what they were getting. They knew what they were getting, and they said, "We got to do it justice, because we're only going to get one chance to do this correctly. Let's knock it out of the park."
And they did in spades. And like we're only like six episodes in. But the fact of the matter is the animation is just so fluid. They show all the battles like and in high def too, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
If you're not scared of these fights, there's something wrong with you. Because point period, I know people give Man of Steel a lot of crud, but if these fights don't scare you, they should.
Like
because that honestly, I would go as far to say that this, if superheroes were real, this is what would happen.
Yeah, it's true. It could very well be true. But One Punch Man, obviously, if you're not watching it, you should give it a shot because you're not going to regret it. It's just great.
Jump on it. Jump on it.
Did you have anything else to say about One Punch Man, or?
No, we're good.
But another one that both of us are watching, you know, apart from like Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, because we're still watching that.
We're gonna be doing that for a while.
It's for a while. Gundam has finally come back with another series, and a good one. It like a Gundam that is representative of the Gundam name in a good way. And I think Darian can say it better than I can, because Darian is a much bigger Gundam fan than I am, and like
I would say I've always accused. I don't know if that's the right word. I've always said that Gundam was the Star Trek of anime, because for lack of a better term, it is. And
not Robotech.
I can't say Robotech because Macross only puts out stuff every so often.
That's true,
and it's very, very gimmicky. Gundam is not gimmicky because they changed the way they do.
Sometimes Gundam is gimmicky. Let's be honest.
I understand.
Gino Reconquista was gimmicky.
We don't talk about that.
And like to an extent, so was Build Fighters, but Build Fighters was still good.
Yeah, but that's besides the point. But for the newest Gundam, it's a great start. And mind you, this is only me coming from episode 1. I've been slacking, and I apologize.
I have watched every episode to date so far.
But in terms of a Gundam series, this is great, and I love it. I can't really say more than that. But getting up off like the way that Gundam can be gimmicky, this one is original. I love the suit. I love the pilot. And I love the cast.
The cast is great, and I also love the tone of it.
The tone is...
Because the tone has dark elements.
It's a war series, and a proper War Gundam series. A proper one. Because I will say that in terms of anime, Gundam always tries to represent what war actually means. They get into philosophical views.
And like Age tried that.
Age tried it and
Age
couldn't
was
do it.
all about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the style of Age. I love the characters, but like,
it was trying to do it too hard.
It did, and like, it followed 3 generations, like spanning a war of like over 100 years, and like, yeah, like that point was. It got across.
It was the first, and I loved that idea where it spanned across 3 generations instead of just saying, okay, it's going to be the same person over and over and over again. But I like the idea of this because it really brings the real tone of war from a soldier sort of view versus a child. Well, we do have children in this, but
child soldiers.
But like a child soldier who goes through the typical mecha way of getting thrown into a suit because of an incident. And I would go that the last true good war one for Gundam was I don't want to say Gundam Wing, because Gundam Wing was a great one by itself, but that wasn't the last one. The last true good war one, and people will hate me for this, was Gundam Seed. Was the first Gundam Seed. Gundam Seed Destiny is a travesty, and we don't talk about it. But the thing that Gundam Seed did really well was the fact, and I want to kind of parallel the two, is that in Gundam Seed, Kira Yamato kills a guy
he had fought for the longest time. And everybody comes up to congratulate him. And he says, "Shut up! I just killed somebody. Don't be happy about that." Whereas in Destiny, Shinasuke ironically kills Kiriyamato, and he's smiling about it, and Atham slaps him across the face. Though the parallels are definitely there, so you see a difference between both of them. And I know that the new Gundam is going to show that level of impact when it comes to war.
And death. I can vouch for that. It hits the tone as it should.
It hits the tone, and it's going to be really great.
Okay, so you want to
move on to other ones?
No, like briefly mention a few of yours too, like the other ones you're keeping track of time.
Keeping track. Okay. Another anime I'm watching that I just kind of saw on my Hulu playlist, and it was mentioned on GoBoyno.com, and I'm like, GoBoyno sent it to me. Why not watch it? And long story short, it's on my newsfeed a lot because I post a lot of things from GoBoyno anime. But I checked it out, and for a second there, I thought it was just gonna be another harem anime. Holy crap! It's so good. It's hard to explain because they got a really defined vocabulary, but essentially this kid goes to this academy that his sister once went to, and she vanished. And he goes out looking for her, and of course he has this stereotypical anime and hentai, or not hentai, stereotypical harem encounter where he goes in, peeps, and gets beat up by a girl by complete accident. But after that, it just goes into fights, which are really well animated and really, really well done. The only thing that I would say is a problem with this is that if it's going to be a 13, I'm not really sure if it's going to be a 13 episode, is that it's dragging on. You can't do that.
Did you ever say the title?
Asterisk War.
Okay.
I forgot to say the title. I'm sorry. This is called Asterisk War. It's essentially the main character is coming around to look for what happened to his sister. And while it hasn't kept that ideal going, but it's really good in establishing who the characters are. It's really been good about fleshing those characters out. And yes, it has ecchi elements, but it wouldn't be a harem anime if it didn't. Seraph of the End started again. And now it's part 2. And it's been going on for a while. It's not as defined and fast-moving as the first part of the series was. And it's basically just been, I don't want to say boring episodes, but the episodes haven't been massively engaging lately.
Okay.
But finally, we moved into the next arc, where they're in Nagoya, and it's all but certain that people are going to die.
Yeah, probably.
It's literally, now that is the tone of each episode. People are going to die, and there's nothing they can do about it. It can't be stopped. People are going to die. And you don't know who it's going to be, because I don't read the manga for this anime on purpose. I do not want to know what's going on. But we're going to expect some possible main character deaths. It's going to be pretty epic. And then we got some news.
Wait. I have two to talk about too.
Oh, okay. These different from the announcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like the two I just want to briefly mention, Concrete Revolutio, I can't remember the other two like words or whatever for it. Concrete Revolutio is a pretty interesting anime about what if like all these like superhumans and robots and creatures and that all exist in like one time frame. It's a really interesting anime. Like I love the art style of it. A lot of people are very confused though because it's one of those series where it jumps through like time events like forward and back repeatedly. And like somebody has already constructed like a timeline for it, but like it's really interesting if you're able to connect the dots for what's happening because it shows like a really drastic change in tone from like the past and the present of how like certain characters and their attitudes and that have changed. The other one though, and this one is quickly becoming a favorite of mine, is Rakudai Kishi no Cavalry. And this one is another harem anime, although the thing about this is funny is that like the romance actually moves along and like it happens and like
I've heard
in
of
parallel
harem
to
animes
like
this.
Ori Monogatari, which was one of my favorite shonen animes of all time. I love that series to death. The romance actually happens. The main character
Is this an
actually
harem
gets with the
anime,
girl.
or is it a love triangle harem anime? Because that's not a harem anime.
Okay, like he actually like gets in a relationship, but he still kind of has harem.
Well, that's sword art.
Yeah, it's kind of like sword art.
It's not kind of like sword art. That's sword art.
Okay, but no, because it's actually good. And let me explain though, because okay, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I was gonna punch you.
You know I love sword art. You know I do. But no.
That's a story for another day. I'm not even gonna get into sword art. Let's move on.
I love this series because while it does have some of the stereotypical like cliches like the tsundere redhead like love interest kind of dealio and like the main character who is overpowered, he's not though. Like at the same time, like, and this is like the character development is there in every single episode, and it's something that you don't get necessarily in other animes, and I love the pacing of it. I love how like the main character or the main characters are like getting closer in a relationship while like other characters are also being explored and stuff like that.
Instead of just getting kicked around consistently and not
like the
advancing
animation is really good, and they actually animate the fights in this one too instead of just random screens. So yeah, I love it. I highly recommend it. We gotta move on. Oh, like
Yep.
to two
announcements.
Two announcements that were really great. One, JoJo Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, is getting an anime. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. For those that know me and how much I love JoJo, because I say it all the frickin' time. And people won't have to deal with the crappy Duong translations anymore, because we'll finally have an anime! Yay! And the other one, which both of us really enjoy.
Boku no Hero is getting it. It's getting an anime! It's getting an anime!
Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academy, is those some people know in the US, is finally getting an anime adaptation. Part of me questioned, okay, is this too soon? At the same time, I still really wanted to see it as an anime.
And honestly, I kind of want to say this as a fan of the manga. For this manga, it is really, really good for it to come out as an anime, because one of the things that was really, really hard for me in the beginning for this is the drawing style. I'm not criticizing it, but for some people, especially me, it took me a while to get used to it.
Well, and to be fair, it kind of evolved a little bit as like the first kind of chapters like went along, as like because the original one shot is the style of it is slightly different than what it is now. The main character had like a very serious overhaul in like what he was, but like it's gonna look great.
It's gonna look great. I know that, especially at this in the time that we're in, with all superheroes going on, people are gonna love this.
Yeah, but I will admit this will be the one series where like, yeah, I was a fan
before
it became an anime.
We're gonna say it. We were fans before it got popular.
It like to be fair, me especially, I've been there since the first chapter. Like since the first chapter was released, I was there.
Sometimes people need that kind of respect. They do.
Yeah,
they do.
But I'm very excited for both of them. I don't believe they actually have like release date for Boku no Hero Academia.
Nope, but it was announced, and that's all.
It was announced, and the same is said for Diamond is Unbreakable. If I had to guess for that,
probably fall next
honestly,
year.
for like both of them, actually,
probably fall of next year.
I'd even go as far to say summer, maybe,
or spring.
Not spring. Spring is too early.
Okay. Did they say that they were in production or that they're doing it?
That they're doing it.
Well, then it might already be done already, and they didn't tell anybody. So we might get it in like spring.
Diamond is Unbreakable. I doubt it, but we need to.
I'm thinking Boku no Hero.
Right, but we need to move on.
One last thing. This is for manga, but don't. Well, the other one's only going to take like 5 minutes to talk about it.
Right.
But UQ holder for people who were a fan of Negima. I kind of want to tell you what this is for people who have read Negima or in the midst of reading it. Negima ended about sometime last year, and it left a couple questions open. It left a lot of questions as to. I know the big question was, who did Negi end up with? Who did he marry? Who was he with? Did he have children? And Yukio Holder supposedly, in the midst of it, answers that question. Where the new character is Tota Kanoe. And the theme of this show really picks up on all the advancement and the evolution of the world that the Negima universe was in. And what it is that the Negima universe had everything. It had everything. Superhumans, robots, vampires, wizards, everything. And it just, if anything, no manga I've ever read has ever truly addressed how strong the main character was getting. In like the perfect sense. And Negi got so powerful that it actually affected his body in a way that it's actually scaring people towards the end of the series. And effectively, we knew that Negi was going to pretty much become immortal. And what happens is Yukio Holder, is that his supposed grandson shows up. And Evangeline, as she's being called Yukihime in this series, shows back up in this series, and she's taking care of him. And when somebody tries to fight Evangeline, and she's an immortal vampire. She's immortal. She's not going to die. That is definite. The thing with her is, she ends up having to bite Tota to stay alive, and he becomes immortal. But now, supposedly, immortals are a prevalent thing in this world. So people are going to have immortality via superpowers, via cybernetic implants, via being a vampire, or being a member of a certain demon tribe. And honestly, this series addressed perfectly gender confusion, which I don't really see a lot in anime with Tota's best friend Kuromaru, where he comes from a race of people where once he becomes an adult, he is able to dictate what type of body he turns into. And he will either be a girl or a boy. Currently, he prefers male pronouns and wants to be a boy. But it's one of the first times I've ever actually seen that addressed in a series, and it's addressing it so well because he clearly is struggling with it. But it really deals with immortality and actually having characters, and Jordan's motioning to me move on, and now we're going to get to the one that is really going to hit us both.
Yeah, and we got to make it really brief.
We don't have to make it brief, but we'll make it brief enough.
We'll
make it brief
We're
enough.
trying to make it an hour, remember?
I'm aware. But ladies and gentlemen, we are now a week away from Digimon Adventure Tri being released.
That's more than a week, technically.
Yeah.
It's like...
About 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
It's 13 days.
It's 13 days, but ladies and gentlemen, the countdown is real. As of next week, Digimon will be turned on top of its head. Things are going to change. And something that will be addressed, which I haven't had the chance to address to people at all, is that the first 5 minutes were released for Tri. And the first 5 minutes, we are given the actual fate of what happened to not the original Digidestined, but the 4 Digidestined from Digimon Adventure 02. It's not great.
We're not gonna say like spoilers for those who haven't seen it.
But it's not good.
Yeah. You watch like the first minute, it's like, oh, this is pretty neat. We're like establishing like the animation.
It's getting all beautiful.
It's like, and all of a sudden,
and then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, wait. And it's not great. It's not great at all. And
But at the same time, it is.
And honestly, the one thing that I will say that they did perfectly is that they set the tone of the series right off the bat.
Yep, the tone is there. This isn't for
This isn't
your kiddie Digimon anymore.
It's not.
Put on your
Feels caps.
I was gonna say, like, put on your big person pants.
Put on your big person pants. Things are going to change pretty drastically. Now, as we said,
We have no clue where we're going to be after these films are over. Because they did do an epilogue, but we do not know.
An epilogue to O2 is what he means.
For the O2 epilogue, which some people liked, some people didn't like. I personally grew to accept it and to accept it. It wasn't going to change. It was a thing.
Okay with it.
It was a pretty drastic and epilogue, but essentially, we don't know if that's going to remain canon. We don't know. We still don't know. And especially with those first 5 minutes, it's making us question it drastically in a big way. So for people who think that,
like the big question is, because there's supposed to be 6 movies, what is the plot going to be? How many movies is the initial plot going to be stretched over? If it is just the initial plot, and if there are more plots, what are those going to be? A lot of questions, not a whole lot of answers.
Will the 02 Digidestined come back from what happened to them?
Spoilerish, but anyway.
It's not a spoiler. I didn't say what happened to them. I haven't said what happened to them. I just said it wasn't good. Will they come back and make an appearance later in later films? But as of next week, we are going to be living in a completely different style of Digimon universe.
And we don't want spoilers.
We don't want spoilers.
We want to watch it when it becomes available to us. So we will be avoiding spoilers like the plague. To the best of our ability.
Long story short, that 5 minute into that movie made me not want to see it with anybody. I don't want to watch this for the initial run. I don't want to see that movie. Well, I don't know if I'm ever actually going to want to watch this movie with anybody after that.
Oh, God.
But, point period. I won't be seeing it with my best friend. I won't be seeing it with Jordan. I will be sitting in my room watching it alone, not with a single soul. I don't know what I'm going to be like after this movie. I don't know if I'm going to be enraged. I don't know if I'm going to be terrified. I don't know if I'm going to be crying. I don't know. And that scares the living crap out of me. I don't know what I'm going to be like after next week.
I'm just excited. So, I mean,
the excitement is there. The excitement is there, but it's also scary because we don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know.
I kind of welcome it with open arms, to be completely fair, but then again...
Well, you don't...
Right, I don't have that
massive...
same emotional depth that you have with it.
Not to knock that, but...
Not, right.
Yeah.
Not to knock it in any way.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those people that is like, woo, change!
Change might not be good.
That's fair.
I will say right now, if Kari and TK become a thing, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing... But hopefully if TK gets some freaking deft, I may or may not care.
I mean, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they're, it's not going to be okay if they, make it so that was a thing kind of before the movie even starts. If it's the thing where they're, actually trying to show, oh hey, there could be romantic things happening,
because
maybe, but
from the looks of the other parts of the trailers and the givens they given us, it looks like that could be a prevalent thing.
All we've seen is TK wave his hand.
Well,
and we
just,
don't
no,
even know
I
who
don't
he's
just mean
waving
TK
to.
and Kari romantically. I mean romance in general in this series.
Fair enough.
Because I know that some series... Well, this is how Japan kind of treats the romance. They'll either address it or they won't. And that's a big thing in anime. They'll either address this or they won't. And I'm hoping that they address it, but I hope they don't go and change... It's like I've been saying. I hope they don't go and change certain things because people were mad about it.
Yep.
I don't want them to do that. I'd prefer that epilogue to still be a thing, but I want these movies to make me question it.
That's fair. Anyway, so to kind of wrap things up, because we got a few more minutes to just like wrap things up here. Both Darian and I will be appearing at Daisho Con next week.
Hopefully, we're arriving together.
Right. I'm still planning on going on Thursday.
You're still gonna go on Thursday?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to like go and like work in the morning if I'm even working that day.
Well,
because they know I'm not gonna be.
We'll
there
talk
for the
about that
weekend.
on the podcast. People don't need to know where we'll be.
But anyway,
If you do find us, feel free to say hi, but I
Right.
doubt that you will.
I mean, I'll be recognizable. I'll be cosplaying as Major Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist on Friday, and then Josuke Higashikata from JoJo Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable on
I think
Saturday.
the Josuke gave it away.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, I mean, it's not a secret anymore for those that keep up with the cosplay side of things. But I will be hosting my first convention panel, which will be a JoJo panel. Go figure.
He's joining the ranks of panelists like I did.
Yep.
If people know Jordan, they're actually really they would probably actually be really shocked that Jordan did a panel. I did a panel before Jordan.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I am a people person. I've done theater since a young age. I've never hosted a panel at a convention before.
Yeah. Because of those things, if knowing you, it's a shock that you didn't do it before.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, at the same time, like, I had college when I was, like, really starting to get into conventions again. But
tell us about your panel.
So my panel is called Color Changing Men Striking Poses, Insert Dio Meme. And I'm in love with making this presentation. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to find that balance between targeting newer fans and like seasoned fans in the same panel. Because like you've had your Marvel 101 panel,
Which I will talk about before.
which is something that like you mostly like targeted towards.
I'll
like,
mention that. Just go on with go with yours.
so like I'm trying to find that balance. I want to divide people so much when I say who my like favorite and least favorite characters are from each part, because
I'm going to be doing that for Marvel Comics 101 next year.
I find a little bit of joy in that because I know that I have certain choices that people are going to be like, and others will be like, oh my god, me too. But
that was perfect.
I'm very excited for this panel. As long as I do get it on Saturday.
And we know when it is because they still haven't told either of us.
Because that's the thing, is I need it to be on Saturday, because that's when I'm going to be Josuke. And, like, it has to be at a certain point where, like, I can get ready. It's like, Josuke's not going to be a whole lot of high maintenance. Like, I'll put on the outfit, I'll need to make sure that my wig is right, which I finally got the wig today, and I need to fix that up because the shipping wasn't exactly kind to it. But then again, it's a complex wig to begin with. But
right.
I digress. I hope you all look forward to that. But Darian is also hosting panels. He's gonna tell you about that. He's got 2.
All right. For my panels,
I will be doing Marvel Comics 101 again. So this is like a shout out to the people who did go to AMK or to Midwest or to GeekCon and wanted to go to my panel and didn't get a chance. I will be doing my panel at at Daisho Con. I have no clue when it is. I hopefully got Saturday again. I'm coming off of 2 great panels. Well, the audience for the GeekCon one wasn't spectacular, but it was still fun because I got 2 new fans and I got to send them some things that were really happening. I got to dub a comic book, which was fun. I dubbed Miss Marvel for the crowd. I'm going to be adding some things to the panel now that we are living in a new Marvel universe. But yeah, this panel, I've tried to make it for newcomers. More or less for newcomers, but to also bring the seasoned Marvel fans into the room and most importantly, I want to bring people together for this panel. I want people to come to my panel and make a new friend there. I want to walk out with friends because honestly, that's why I did it. I did this panel to meet other people who like Marvel, maybe want to read into comics. Yes, I'm going to expand the Marvel comic book universe. I will be talking about the movie universes. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things. I don't center on characters in general in this, but for good reason. They don't need to be. I don't need to do like a 10-minute biopic of Captain America. You either know Captain America at this point or you don't. But that's Marvel Comics 101. Come, make a friend. Help me make other friends. Come interact. Make a big shout out. Debate with me, and I will make fun of you in good fun. But it's gonna
Come to my panel so I can make a mockery of you.
I just said in good fun.
I know. It's funny.
Or at least watch me do it to other people.
Come to my panel and I will pose at you.
Oh, okay, that's what this is gonna be like. But anyway, now we're gonna get into my brand new panel, which I have never done before, and I should probably get to work on right after this. But it is going to be a What is Puresu panel. What is Puresu? Come to my panel and find out. No, I'm just playing. You guys know, for people who've known me, I am a wrestling fan. And
What? No, it's not like you've ever talked about wrestling on the podcast before. What?
Shut up. But this is the first time, but this is different. This panel will be is completely about Japanese wrestling. Wrestling in Japan. And it's also going to have there are going to be a lot of anime influences, honestly, in here. Especially with the latest anime, who's Do You Want to Be the Strongest? Which is based around Joshi wrestling.
Are you gonna talk about Ladybeard by chance?
I probably will.
Yes!
But
Ladybeard!
But, essentially, I'm going to explain what Japanese pro wrestling is, some places to watch it, and what are some of the best companies to watch, where you can look for them. There aren't going to be a whole lot, but I'm going to be doing some looking. I'm going to do a lot of promoting, and I especially want people who either like me or like wrestling to come to at least the first 5 minutes. I'm going to blow people away in those first 5 minutes. That is a promise. I'm going to do it, and you are going to be shocked. And chants are mandatory. Chanting is mandatory. You are going to chant. I'm going to make you want to chant in this panel. So those first 5 minutes, it's going to be epic. You're going to laugh. You're going to be happy. And I promise, the trolling will be down to a minimum.
Trolling will not be down to a minimum in my panel. That is a guarantee. For those that love the trolling. Because let's be honest, JoJo is actually full of it. But yeah.
Yep. And
come see
us.
Our panels.
We'll post about both of them when they are, because at this current point in time, we know nothing.
Yeah, we still don't know. We might know, as soon as that like guidebook comes out, but like
it might come out tomorrow, because tomorrow is Monday.
Right.
It's probably gonna come out probably before the end of the week. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be really shocked.
Yeah, it's gonna happen this week, because if they don't, then that's kind of that's not giving enough time for people to prepare or notice.
To be honest, I think about 3 weeks before last year's, when I did my panel last year. And like I said, I hopefully am doing What is Puresu on Friday, and then I'm doing Marvel Comics on Saturday, because Saturday is guaranteed people will be there. But like I said, come to the panel. I want you to come, make a friend, meet new people. That's what this panel is for. And it's going to be an accepted audience. I don't care if you're a newbie. I don't care if you've been in it for a while, or if you've been reading it since the day you were born. But come to my panel. Meet some new people. Go to Jordan's panel. Become a fan of JoJo. Make some friends of JoJo. Right off the bat, so you're not going to be alone. Make some long-lasting connections. Make some short connections who you don't want to talk to after this. Whatever. Come and talk to us about it.
Yep. So with that being said, this has been our rebooted Dork List, episode 6.2.
The reboot.
The reboot.
The new
The
beginning.
podcast Awakens.
The new beginning.
My name is Jordan,
My name is Darian Christian, the one you love.
but you love me more.
That's not Cookie, Jordan.
It's always Cookie.
It's not Cookie.
And with that, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Love ya.